What's going on, everybody in Hashtag Nation? Paul and Mario here talking about everything free agency with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah,
Exciting time to be a Bills fan.
very, very.
So welcome. Obviously, Mario and I kind of went a little light on content this week because free agency, the legal tampering period, the fun time, the happy fun time, started on. And of course, all your free agency contracts were starting and rolling through effective today. So, welcome everybody. Um, oh, geez, Joe's streaming right now.
Oh God,
Oh,
I didn't
sorry,
know
man.
that.
Sorry, I had no idea. What's up, Paul Berg? What's up, Men Football Talk? Uh, yeah, Men Football Talk. Yo, they just signed Gurley.
Did they?
No, they didn't sign Gurley.
I didn't see that.
No, nobody signed
Uh,
Gurley. Richard Young, what's up? Bills fan 7883. How you doing? Hola.
Hola,
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
mucho queso.
Um, lots going on from a free agency standpoint. No surprise. What
Mm-mm.
what's the theme?
What's the theme? You tell me.
If it bled blue once, it'll bleed blue again. Carolina
Blues.
Panthers. Yeah, it was bleeding Carolina blue. Um, yeah, it's I guess with this, time period where for some reason, um, the free agency period is a little funky, right? So probably
Yeah.
working on past relationships.
Do you think that's why the tampering period had so much news because of what's been going on around the world
Maybe.
with all this, and that why there wasn't any blockbusters after the tampering period?
Yeah.
Like everything was like, okay, this is all set. We got to do everything remotely anyway.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of guys who the fit has to be right. For
Yep.
those big name free agents, I think you're looking at something different. Um, but for those guys who are looking to pick the right place for their family, they want to check out the facilities, real behind the scenes look with an organization. It's almost impossible to do right now.
Yeah.
So unless you are familiar with the front office and you can kind of trust the people in the front office, you might be waiting for a little bit to figure out where exactly you're going to go because you don't even know when football is going to start. You're
If
not
it does.
entirely sure if it does,
If it
right?
does.
So a lot going on.
We don't practice social distancing.
Yeah, no, yeah. We're both under house arrest, so it doesn't. That stuff doesn't apply here.
It's pretty amazing. Yeah, it was good to see. Obviously, the initial shock of the Stephon Diggs talk,
Right.
it kind of buried a lot of the Carolina Blue stuff that's
Sure.
been going on with Mario Edison, Vernon Butler. Um, but I mean, you dance with who you know, and
Right.
you had made the point, and I told Hashtag Nation on the stream I did yesterday. Um, you know that could have those guys could have been players that Bean stood on the table for down in Carolina, and why I made the comment, why draft them if you already drafted them once? Sign them back, get them affordable deals. The Butler deal is eerily reminiscent of Jordan Phillips.
Yeah,
so
very similar.
It's those guys are all around the league. Those big interior guys that just plug everything, and you got a 2-year prove it deal for them. You had made a comment on a previous show that we had last week that said, listen, those 2-year deals are really glorified 1-year deals.
Right.
So, okay, if you prove yourself your first year, we'll see what happens the next year.
Yeah.
Who knows what happens? And, they went with a lot of guys that they knew. And I think that was a theme around the league.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Detroit. I mean, how many guys went to Patricia?
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
Right. Well, and even the trade for Diggs, I think that's kind of the big one. So let's kind of frame out the trade for Diggs a little bit, right? So you traded your first round pick, you traded a fifth, a sixth, and next year's fourth, right?
Yeah.
Well, you likely are getting 2 4th-round picks for Shaq Lawson and for Jordan Phillips.
I think because of all the signings they had,
well, it might be a fifth. It might be 2 fifths.
Well, I think it canceled out at least a 4.
Okay.
So you might get the fifths back.
Okay. So you're trading a pick that you're going to be getting back in compensatory, or at least you're getting a pick back in compensatory next year from Jordan Phillips or Shaq Lawson. Either way, you're getting a pick there.
From Russell Bodine and Wyatt Teller.
You're trading the pick from Russell Bodine and Wyatt Teller. You're right, though. So you're trading a first and then Russell Bodine and Wyatt Teller, who you were going to cut anyway. You just happen to get a pick for them. Like, that's why you trade players for 5th, 6th, 7th round picks. You just stockpile them up. Teams want them because they want to balance out trades.
They want
if you look at the compensation they gave up for Diggs, totally worth it, right?
I don't think that what they gave up for Diggs was enough to get him. You did the mathematics on it.
Yeah.
They can't get up to like 15 or 14 to try
Yeah.
to get one of those wide
No.
receivers. Plus, the thing that it just stings in my head about the Diggs deal, 4 more years. It's not like it's a 1 year or a 2 year deal. You have
Right.
the guy until he's 30 years old.
Right.
And that's one of the key things about it is like you have a polished route runner in the NFL. He's acclimated to the game. You don't have to bring him into your system. That's what the biggest question we
Right.
had. Coming in the Dable system, how are these rookies going to learn the system? John Brown already commented last year how difficult a system it was. And then you get a guy who's already been in the NFL and knows everything that's going on. So I think it's a great move if they were thinking of going wide receiver at 22 and then just like, we don't have enough ammunition to get up.
Well, and again, the rumors were circulating around about they went to T. Higgins pro day and they're like, oh man, now again, stop me if you heard this before. They went to a Clemson pro day for a wide receiver that doesn't run a full route tree and went, maybe not.
Good.
Maybe not.
Go.
I don't need to revisit that again. That's just me. And that's reference to Sammy Watkins. Because that was the one thing. Everybody goes, oh, Sammy Watkins, he makes all his catches within 3 yards from the line of scrimmage. Because when he catches the ball, he falls down. That's why they had to give him the ball at the line of scrimmage because it's the only way they can make him run.
Just to let the chat know, everyone that's here, Hashtag Nation, thank you for joining us tonight.
What?
Mr. Minus is in the chat.
Oh, Minus.
So
yeah, I know. I saw
Mike Granada's in the chat if you guys want to pepper him a little bit.
So I saw to hit up the chat a little bit, lots of talk about Todd Gurley. So Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon, I think are a fun conversation right now. There's rumor that the Bills are being connected to Gordon. Of course, anytime a player like Todd Gurley becomes available, you're going to kick the tires on that. I think they're both in sort of different circumstances where Gurley is dealing with arthritis in his knees. Melvin Gordon is dealing with his first 3 years as a professional. I mean,
that's brutal.
That's the truth, though. As a Melvin Gordon fantasy owner, his rookie season, it was a tough year.
So
he didn't score a touchdown his rookie year.
Well, yeah,
not one. And he was starting. Not one.
Oh my God. So in 5 years, Gurley, just to let you guys know, this is the biggest stat that I always pay attention to, and a lot of you guys pay attention to this. Gurley in 5 years has over 1,500 touches.
Yeah, that's big, right?
And it's huge for a guy who is oft hurt.
Right.
It'll depend on money.
Yeah.
What does he want? What kind of a deal does he want?
Well, he got paid plenty. So.
Well, did they give him a front-loaded deal?
Yeah, he got a ton of. Yeah, they're going to take $12 million in dead cap just to get rid of him. So that should speak to the amount of money they gave him up front.
Yeah,
he got a ton of money up front.
So that being said, you're a numbers guy. Let's talk. What you go a 2-year deal, obviously a prove it deal for him. I don't know if I'd stretch it to 3 because then you put him on the same timeline as Singletary.
Yeah.
So 2-year deal. How much total? How much do you give him the first year?
So I mean, here's the problem, right? If you're going to do any deal with Todd Gurley, you're going to want to protect yourself with a roster signing bonus.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So what you're going to
why don't you explain it?
So it's an interesting conversation. So the difference between a roster bonus and a signing bonus is a signing bonus, they take that money and they divide it up evenly across the entire contract. So if it's a 4-year deal, that signing bonus is divided 4 ways. Each year it shows up on your salary cap. A roster bonus is just for this year. Or the year that it's active, right?
Yeah, like the third day of the new
league
year.
So if I were to sign Todd Gurley, he's going to get $9 million. I think, guys, he's a $9 million player. Like it's
per year.
Per year. Even with the injury, player he will get signed per year at $9 million. But teams are likely going to do roster bonuses probably for half of that each year. So they'll do a roster bonus this year. So it's kind of like a signing bonus where he'll get 4.5 in a roster bonus and then 4.5 the next year. But he's 2-year 18 mil. I mean, he's a $9 million player.
2-year, $18 million, and you probably put
4.5 each year in a roster bonus.
Okay, roster bonus 4.5.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing to note in that is that the player gets that the first day that they sign the contract. They're
roster bonus is
the signing bonus.
Roster
immediately.
Right, signing bonus immediately. Roster bonus is 3rd day of the league year.
Yeah.
So I mean, what are you really waiting for?
Well, yeah, I understand. He'll probably get a chunk of change first year.
Melvin Gordon, on the other hand, I think is a little bit more of a fascinating conversation.
He is, but he's in the same kind of ballpark. He has, let me just check it real quick. He's got about 1,300 touches from scrimmage. Like you
Yep.
said, the 0 touchdowns.
Yeah, 0
Only
touchdowns.
one 1,000-yard season.
Right.
And a lot of people were coming in the chat. Who was it? They said they think he's just an average running back. But does this hurt the narrative of first round running backs in the league? Because I mean, you got Elliott and Barkley seem to be all right. You got McCaffrey is doing phenomenal. I mean, the guy's got 400 catches.
Well, for now,
for now. But these guys were they were in the same year in the same round.
Yeah.
So what do you do? What do you do with those first round running backs?
Well, Gordon split an immense amount of time with Eckler this season.
He did.
Right?
He did.
So if Melvin Gordon thinks he's an RB1, Melvin Gordon was effective because he wasn't, his snap count was down, because Eckler played so much. Plus, I mean,
162 touches.
Yeah. Here's the deal.
Or rushes, I'm sorry.
There's only been one season in Melvin Gordon's career where he's dressed for all 16 games. So.
And that was the only year he rushed for 1,000 yards.
Yeah, that was his 1,000-yard rushing season. So
caught 58 passes that year.
Well, no Eckler. So
yeah,
I'm not a big.
Eckler? You guys know what round Eckler was taken?
I think he might have been undrafted.
He might have been undrafted.
But I mean, if we're going to talk market value for Gordon, the Bills are out on him, right? If he really feels he's an RB1 and should get paid like an RB1, the Bills aren't going to be able to afford him. They're not going to invest silly, stupid money in him for something like that. That's just not going to happen. I know there's a lot of talk in the chat about Christian Wade, so let's talk about Christian Wade a little bit. A little different scenario with Christian Wade. So this last year, national player program, he was exempt,
couldn't be touched.
He was on the practice squad. This year, different story. He's still possibility to make the roster, right? The Bills did sign him to a futures contract, so he is available to, be in camp. If he is placed on the practice squad, which is now 12 players, not 10, if he's on the practice squad, another team can pick him up this year. So it's not like last year. Last year he was untouchable. They can't roster exempt him this year.
But another thing to note in that is the fact that in May he's going to be 29 years old.
Right.
So I don't think you would roster exempt him because he's getting up there. And we don't know, at least I've never played rugby. I don't know the toll that it takes on you, and I don't know about any previous injury history with him. But the guy, he can run. I mean, he was playing against third and fourth teams that are probably not in the NFL right now. But that being said, he did show flashes, and a lot of people still have that memory in the back of their head. Oh, we still got Christian Wade. Right. It's a nice piece to have, but I don't know if. The NFL knowledge that a Gurley and a Gordon have is something that Wade does not have.
Right.
Plus, they're both 4 years younger.
Sure.
So, while I like the idea of Wade, I don't know. I haven't seen him catch too many passes. I don't know what his football IQ is. I'm a little hesitant, but I like the upside the kid has.
So, let's see here. Cameron Taylor says Wade's a special teamer. Men Football Talk says he'll make the roster. Aaron Veneu says he's got potential for making the team. Agreed across the board. And I have a feeling like Wade's true spot on this team. Hey, Hen Dog, what's up? I feel like Wade's true spot on this team is in a kick return format, right? And the reason I say that is because you want to get him in space.
Yeah.
Right. Because rugby is, very much about open field.
Yes.
Right. So you want to get him in space. If he's going to be successful, Andre Roberts is going to be taking snaps away from him. You don't need Andre Roberts out there.
Well, they don't have McKenzie anymore, right?
McKenzie's free agent.
Okay, so that may signal
he doesn't. Well, you do have Ray McLeod on the roster still. I know I don't love Ray McLeod. He's just still here, so I have to keep talking about it.
It doesn't change the fact that he went to Carolina and then came back. Right. He's not actually a Carolina guy.
No. But I think if you're going to look at him being successful, that's what you need. You need him to be in that special teams role.
Yeah, I think that's where he'll flourish. He'll flourish there.
I agree.
Ryan Robert, Wade is a Disney movie in the making.
Rudy, DLC said it. Did DLC say that? Rudy, yeah, good man. Good DLC. Man. Dave Garner said Wade will be hard pressed to make the 53. So interesting thing about that as well, from a salary cap perspective, all 53 players are now counted towards the salary cap. Game day rosters are not 53 anymore. They're actually 55. I'm sorry. Rosters are 55, not 53. Excuse me.
That immediately
rosters
went
are
in with the
55.
CBA. Yeah.
Right. And game day rosters go from 46 to 48. So they expand by 2.
Where and I would like you to bestow upon
Yeah.
me. See, this is the CBA stuff that all you guys are waiting for that I don't have the privy of. What is it about how does that affect the contracts? Like, let's say we're talking about a Josh Norman.
Yeah.
That gets a per game bonus.
Yeah.
Now, if he's your, if you talk about not necessarily Josh Norman, but a guy who's your 47th best player that has the bonus now, those guys, those accelerated bonuses now,
right,
for being on a game day active roster. So,
yeah.
Why don't you just talk to the nation a little bit about that, how that money works out, and how they may not activate a guy because of that reason.
Right, exactly. So it's as with anything, right? So in the NFL, it's a lot about money, but it's also, even though like per game bonus, roster bonuses happen all the time. That's actually pretty standard in most NFL tracks that players get per game bonuses. Some players get more than others. Sometimes it's based on 8 games or 10 games. Sometimes it's literally a per game roster bonus. And what that does is that money that you pay in those per game roster bonuses goes onto next year's salary cap. Somebody like Josh Norman, just as an example, let's say they're getting paid $50,000 a game, right? That's money that's taken off next year, whether he's on your team or not.
Next year, yeah.
Right.
So those 1-year deals, those guys are less likely to dress because they're going to have to pay for that salary cap next year.
Right.
And if they don't have that player on the roster,
you're carrying dead money for no reason.
You really, yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Totally true. Yeah.
Daniel Garber said, does this go into the 55 goes into effect in the 2020 season?
No, 55 is so the difference here is salary cap went up immediately. Playoff teams, they go up immediately. Roster size, that goes up immediately. So all of that is happening right away. There was just one thing about it. The 17 games. That's the one thing that doesn't go supposed to be effective immediately. Okay. I'll double check that, but that's what I had heard. I did not check that since it got signed.
Yeah, and another interesting thing that we're talking about with the 17 game seasons is how do you balance the season itself, the schedule? Does the AFC have 9 home games and the NFC doesn't? I'm interested to see how they would balance that out. But being the NFL, my thought is that one game that each team plays that's not home or away, they'll have their 8 home, 8 away, and then one will be at a neutral site.
Right.
So they could just pepper it a bunch of stadiums and
exactly. The NFL is going to sell the hell out of that. You're going to be you're going to be in Mexico City. You're going to be in London.
But you're telling me they can't sell out a game at Penn State?
Well, yeah, I mean, you could
Pittsburgh versus Philly. Their 17th game is at Penn State.
Well, a lot of these college stadiums are bigger than NFL stadiums.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, the revenue that they'll generate both for the college and how much the revenue the NFL gets anyway. Having a 17th game in a neutral site for all the teams that they can balance it out would just spread the game even further than it is right now.
And the selling point there was they went from a 17. They're going to a 17 game season, but they're going to a 3-week preseason. Whatever.
I mean, with the amount of time scouting players, it's not like they need 4 games to develop them.
Right.
I just don't understand. I mean, the preseason to me should be 2 games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is basically now. That third game is going to turn into the the smattering of
all the JV guys play.
There's going to be a smattering of whoever's on the roster at the first start.
So
DLC was Gore cut. No, he was a free agent.
Yeah, he only signed a 1-year deal, $1 $2 million deal. Steve Hampton, we had 4 starters from the 2019 draft class. How many do you think we get this year? Well, you lost 3 picks.
Right.
But within those 3 picks, you ended up signing guys that you have your defensive line, rotational guys. You have your second round pick, second, third, and fourth. We have one of your fifths. You have
down on the second.
A player with to go.
Yeah.
For that to happen. And I understand that. But I think he's going to try to maximize the picks that he does have. Of all of the places he went in the scouting session. I mean, who's Dean Kindig?
Yeah.
TT Astros.
Yeah.
Bill's Astros or something. He's a great follow on Twitter if you guys want to follow a guy. He actually charts all the places that Bean, McDermott, and all the coaching staff have gone in the offseason. So you can probably get a good read on what player. I think they went to it was pretty funny. I can't remember who told the story, but they said they went to an LSU Alabama game. Like, good luck trying to figure out who's scouting.
Yeah, exactly, right? Well, and then you look at the combine in LSU and Alabama. The SEC had 94 players of the 300 at the scouting combine. You're like, geez, that's an incredible amount.
Is that true, DLC? If that's true, I'm going to be shocked. Matt Stafford to the Pats.
Ooh, that's fascinating. That's fascinating.
Yeah, so No, DLC messing with us. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Um, so
I'm just reading up on the effective date
yeah,
of those
while
roster
he's reading up
expansions.
on that, due to the fact that Vic Beasley did not sign
Mm-hmm.
with the Buffalo
Nope, they sure
Bills,
didn't.
if you guys remember back about 10, 15 episodes ago, Paul and I had a bet, and which many of you probably know. Uh, yeah, the bet was if Paul lost, he was going to have to eat 5 hot wings, and
Yeah.
he can't take anything hot.
No.
The deal he gave to me was straight out of Super Troopers, where I have to chug a bottle of syrup now because Vic
Yeah,
Beasley is not a Buffalo Bill.
that's right. Hey,
So
listen,
this is the hill that Paul usually dies on, but I'm gonna have to die on it. And if you've ever had cherry Pepsi,
it's
I'm,
much
I'm
like the
chugging
maple
syrup.
syrup. So to clarify the expanded roster spots from 53 to 55, there's some rules that kind of stipulate around it. So let me just walk you through that. The practice squads are going from 10 to 12 effective immediately. And the way the expanded rosters are going to work is the team is going to carry 53 players. Every week, they can elevate 2 players from the practice squad to the now 55-man roster and send them back down without them being able to go through waivers twice per season. So,
Whoa, one more time.
so you could take 2 players from your practice squad, bring them up to the 53, and it expands to a 55-person roster. If you
Okay.
bring up 2 players from the practice squad, it expands to 55. They're only there for the week, and you can send them back down. You could do that with each player 2 times.
Ooh,
So you could
that
run
is
your whole
fascinating.
practice
You can go the
squad.
gauntlet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could take your practice squad and actually bring them up to the 55-man roster, and they're dressing, instead of 46, 48, those guys are included in that. So
Now my question is this: I don't know if it's on there, but if you take a player off of someone else's practice squad, he immediately has to go to your active game day roster.
true.
Now,
Yeah, that didn't
let,
change.
now here's the deal. Let's say if I'm the Bills and you're the Jets,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I take a player off of your roster, off of your practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
I start him for that week. Now, can I put him back down on my practice squad
3 weeks.
because of
You got to guarantee him 3 weeks. You got to cut
Okay.
him. Yeah,
All right.
you got to waive
Okay.
him at that point.
I didn't know if that
you
was.
got to waive him to get him off your roster.
Okay. All right.
All right. So I saw Cameron Taylor mention that we should cut Trent Murphy. Trent Murphy's not getting cut.
At this point, I mean, it'd be hard pressed to say if he is, but you know what? I think that would take a because to me right now, the second round pick is either going to be a tackle or a corner.
Really?
In my opinion, I know it doesn't mean much, but what I'm saying is that is where I think that the Buffalo Bills would go, or are likely to go now because of all the other holes that you filled. Could they go running back? Yeah, they can go running back if a guy fell there. I don't see that.
I don't see that either.
But to me, my personal preference would be a cornerback or a tackle at that position. If you cut Trent Murphy to try to open up some space, you're definitely going to try to fill one of those holes.
Right.
So, but it would put DN back on the table. So if you cut Trent Murphy, then sign another guy that's a DN, okay, then those 2 other positions are still on the board. But if you cut Trent Murphy and sign a number 2 corner, all right, then tackle and DN now are on the board for the second round pick. So a lot of things working there, but the Bills have been able to work magic with third rounders as well. So you could foresee the Bills still getting 2 viable starters in the second or third round, maybe even fourth.
Right.
So, but yeah, for my personal preference, I'd love to see a corner or a tackle taken in the second round.
Yeah,
but I don't see Murphy leaving. Yeah,
like no. Well, of course, Daniel Gary's the white knight for Trent Murphy. They're not cutting Trent Murphy. He says.
White knight. Why did you say that?
He's trying a white knight for Trent Murphy. So is there any point in watching round one? I mean, the Bills are not going to be trading up into round one. I mean, they'd have to trade up the second round pick and a player to get back into round one. That's just simply not going to happen. So likely no game day action for the Bills in round one. But day two is going to be quite exciting because the Bills have shown absolutely zero ability to be patient and wait for a player to fall to them.
It's actually refreshing to have a.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to go out there and say, this is our guy. We don't want him to go any further. Let's go get him. I appreciate that, right? Yeah, I really do. I appreciate that. And it makes, day two exciting. But do not expect the Bills to just sit there and wait for the second round pick to fall to them. That's not who they are. They'll package something and go up and get the guy that they want. As far as players, I don't think it's going to be across the defensive line, although defensive end in the second round makes a bit of sense. You got Jerry on a contract for this year and next year. Trent Murphy's done after this year. This is the last year of his deal. You just brought on Mario Addison. You're tripping around somewhere. Like, you really need another injection inside the
I'd love to see the growth of Dale Johnson from year 1 to year 2. I mean,
Yeah, he was an exciting player in the
if they put
preseason.
15 pounds on him,
Right.
I think he'd be a very, very exciting player. So as of right now, I'm just saying right now, as it stands, you got Murphy, Addison.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got Harrison Phillips, Ed Oliver, Vernon Butler, Starler
Right.
Tway.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side, you got Jerry Hughes and Daryl Johnson.
Right.
8 guys in a rotational front. I'm comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you lose Shaq, you lose Jordan Phillips, you get Mario Addison and Vernon Butler. And you got Jefferson as well.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about Jefferson.
Right.
So they seem to have already injected life into that defensive line. I don't see them making too many moves after that. I mean, is Trent Murphy a $9 million a year guy? He does. If you're a staff,
Right.
if you're a guy that just, I'm white knighting him again. If you're a guy that enjoys the role that he brings, the lunch pail hard hat guy, that's going to do everything you ask.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's not a $9 million guy. $9 million guy does all of those things plus gets 8-9 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's the reason for Mark. It is definitely a very interesting and hot button topic for Buffalo Bills fans right now with Trent Murphy.
So DLC asks, who's our right guard? Listen, John Feliciano was pretty high in the hashtag nation.
Liked one of our tweets.
He did.
Pretty sweet.
He did. Well enough that just as long as you weren't, upset with the holding penalties for every now and again, he played well enough to retain that right guard job. Cody Ford at right tackle still scares the living hell out of me, but I just don't see a situation this season where they're really going to address that long term.
We really got to see, because Waddle, we had no word on Waddle yet.
No, he's still out there. He's still listed as a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills kept him on IR and paid him the whole season, so they wanted him here for a reason. I don't know what. I
find it hard to feel like because you have Naseki, who's going to be 35 at this point. You have Ford and you have Dawkins. You have Bates.
Right.
Okay, Bates, I think he played pretty well. I wouldn't pencil him as a day one starter, but he's a guy that
he's a $4 million player for you. You put him anywhere.
He plays center, guard, tackle. I mean,
put him anywhere.
Why wouldn't you put one of those guys in your team? But that being said, if they don't sign Adrian Waddle, I'm going to be a little bit worried because a lot of people want Ford to move down the guard. If they sign Waddle and he ends up showing up in camp,
right?
I'm talking about a lot of ifs here, but that if they sign Waddle, that'll be a sign for Feliciano.
Well, and let's be real, Deion Dawkins is in a contract year. So that left tackle position's unprotected right now. So there's really nobody there.
Paul Berg's about to blow up in the chat because you mentioned Deion Dawkins.
Well, and I also said unprotected in the same sentence. So I mean, whether he's here or not doesn't matter too much.
You already know.
Amy Polakowski asked, "What about Denzel? Or what about Mims, wide receiver in the draft? Hey, he's a low first round guy. This was a guy that was kind of a big separation. Like stat heads loved him, right? His numbers, and then he comes up, he blows up the Senior Bowl, explodes at the combine, and everybody goes, "Oh, Mims, where did this guy come from?" Great separation numbers. If you're watching tape on him, problem is, you look at school, look at the competition, you're like, some of that separation might be a little manufactured. So it's just, just the way of the world there. I like Mims, but he's not going to be there in the second round. He's a bottom of the first round guy right now. So the Bills aren't going to get a shot at him. Hey, Andrew. So
Flacco is a backup. I've nicknamed him a long time ago, Joe Frankenstein. So I don't think that unless the line is completely shored up.
Yeah. Baby time. You hear baby time upstairs?
I hear baby time.
It's baby amazing. Time.
I love it. It's music to my ears.
Yeah.
Exactly what happened to Claypool.
Yeah. It's Claypool blew up again. Senior Bowl, combine. That was just a big explosion. That's just the way it is. That's what happens. That's what the Senior Bowl and the combine do. Honestly, one of the ways that you could basically scout things is you can go. My one son doesn't understand that the camera is pointing at us and he's crawling on the ground behind the camera thinking that he's in the shot. And then go and watch the other, right? And like if you see the scouting combine, you're like, wow, this guy really blew up. Go watch the Senior Bowl. Odds are he's probably there. Give it a shot, give it a look. If he's not at the Senior Bowl, he might be at the East-West or East.
You go back and forth, and then the combine can sometimes lie to you. And you go to the Senior Bowl, and you're like, "Whoa, what, he disappeared. What happened? Oh, maybe he's just a workout warrior." A lot of these guys actually train for the combine.
Yeah.
As soon as they're done with their season, they end up just doing 3 cone drills
Right.
and doing 40s and trying to, improve the vertical and the broad jump and stuff like that. And be like, oh, wow, this guy really worked hard. Come on.
So Trek reviewer, let's see here. Second round, and Joey Bosa's free agent next year. Joey Bosa is not going to hit free agency. I know the Rams are in I know the Chargers are in a tough spot, but
They're
Bosa's
getting rid
not
of a
gonna
lot
hit.
of people to. They're going
They're
to
looking to pay him.
No, they're looking to go down that path where if you're able to have a guy on a rookie deal for a quarterback, you can spread money everywhere else,
Right.
and that's what they're doing.
Right.
Their secondary is terrifying. But look in that division. You got to Kansas City Chiefs. You got to build your team to win your division first. I understand that. Ryan Rauber comes back in again. He says Voshon Joseph or Tyler Dodson.
Yeah, that's somebody. Those are 2 players we haven't talked about, right?
No,
I don't think you replaced Lorenzo with one player.
No. I think what they did was Makavich is the guy's name. If I'm getting it wrong, I apologize.
Tyler Makavich, the special teamer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's going to take care of that special team role.
Agreed. Yep.
You have, you signed Vernon Butler and Jefferson. One of those guys is going to be the rotational defensive tackle for you. And as far as an outside linebacker, AJ Klein seems like your Sam penciled in right now.
Right. And again, the Bills ran a ton of nickel last year. So, I mean, you're not looking at AJ Klein playing a lot. He's going to play. He'll play
a lot of burn.
Yeah.
But you can disguise certain things in that defense with Klein. But those are, because of the Swiss Army knife that was Lorenzo Alexander, you have to replace him with multiple guys. I think Bean even said that.
Right. Yeah.
Or not Bean on McDermott. You go, he did so much for you. You don't replace him with one player.
I'm super excited to see Voshon Joseph.
I am incredibly.
It's one of those things. If you draft a player from the U, right?
The U,
you know that they are a world-class athlete. They are a world-class athlete. No idea if he's a student of the game. No idea about his work ethic. But those players from the U are typically freak athletes. So I'm really excited to see him. Terrell Dodson, I'm just kind of about.
Well, I think
he's a cool story, but I just kind of
camouflage with his little run in last year, and a lot of people kind of got off that train a little bit.
Right.
I'm intrigued to see what he brings to the table. I really am.
Andrew McGrath, since we keep going to the Carolina connection, do we see any way that we bring in Cam Newton? Cam, I don't think is at a point where he feels like he should be behind a drafted quarterback.
No, I think he's still got a lot to give and a lot to.
I think he thinks he's got a lot to give.
You don't think he does?
No.
I mean, I like Cam. I like Cam. I like what he brings to the table.
I don't know why you like him.
He's I may have falsely and prematurely dubbed him the LeBron James of football because he's an absolute freak.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's 6'5", 250, runs like a deer. He's got a cannon.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, I think in the right scenario, he could be, top tier quarterback.
Well, there's jobs out there to be had. There's starting quarterback jobs out there to be had.
Oh my God! But everyone that's getting into their new system, they get like I said, they get the rookie quarterback. They have him on a controllable deal for 4-5 years.
Yep.
And they get to sprinkle money all over the place. Why would you sprinkle money on Cam Newton? A lot of guys wouldn't do that.
Well, and again, you got a job in San Diego. Listen to me. You got a job in LA. There's a job
opening in LA. Yeah. I think they're going to draft. I really do.
Yeah, they are. I think they are too.
Amy Polakowski said, if you had one or two choices, who would you take in the second round?
Oh, geez. I believe Voshon Joseph went to Florida, not the U. I'm thinking Jaquan Johnson went to the U.
We get them mixed up. I do get them
mixed up all the time.
But Florida still.
Yeah.
You got horses over there too.
Yep.
Wow, we're idiots.
I can't believe I did that. It's been a while, guys. Sorry. It's been a while. I don't sleep much anymore. That's not true. She really does. She's awesome. But come 5:30, it's Paul time. It's Paul time at 5:30.
You thinking cutting punter Corey Borquez and signing? Well, we gotta go back to Amy Polakowski's question in the second round.
Who are we drafting in the second round?
One of two choices.
Oh man, it's so tough to project 60 players down. It's so hard to pick 60 players down. I remember the last time this happened was the Ronald Darby draft. And I remember sitting there going, Bills will draft PJ Williams. Like, I was just convinced of it. I was like, just write it down. PJ Williams comes up. It's Bills time. PJ Williams is on the board. They used to go Ronald Darby Jr. I was like, they drafted the wrong guy. They drafted the wrong Florida State corner.
They forgot.
They picked no. That's the wrong guy.
Well, didn't they get 3 Florida State guys that draft?
Yeah, they
They
did.
got
Nick
Nick
O'Leary,
O'Leary,
Carlos Williams,
Carlos Williams, and
yeah,
Ronald
and
Darby.
Ronald Darby. Yeah,
I think
that's great.
that's all who they scouted.
Great.
That's all where Rex Ryan went that year. Can I just talk about it first for 1 second? That was the most boring draft I've ever been a part of. We didn't even cover it that year.
No.
Like I was talking to you on the phone
Mm-hmm.
to cover that draft, and I go, they picked who?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Yep. It was like the Marv draft.
Was it 2015?
Remember Danny Batten? You're like, who the fuck is Danny Batten? Terrell True. Woo!
Mitchell Friedman?
Who are these fucking guys?
Who are these guys? What do you guys think about Melvin Gordon and Todd Gurley?
Yeah, we actually talked.
Steve,
Steve, we actually talked about at the beginning of the
Want to
stream.
rewind it? I mean, if
oh wait, hold on, Chris Spencer. I think we still go after wide receiver. I hope Bradley Anai is there for us in the third. Let's talk about Bradley Anai real quick. So Bradley Anai is a great exercise in why you watch the Senior Bowl. He was on fire, but here's the deal: Bradley Anai is maybe a 4th round player. Like Senior Bowl probably brought him up out of the 4th round, but he's maybe a 4th round player.
Hunter Renfrow?
No. He's a D end. He's not going to wow you in any statistical category. He's not a natural athlete. He's a hard worker, but he's just not a natural guy, right? So his bend is really just kind of not great.
No,
but he's got a huge motor.
No, that's what I was saying about.
But he's got
Renfrow. That's what I was joking around.
Yeah, he runs like a 5 in the 4. Like he's not a burner, and he's not normally big enough to push you down. But he's a perfect guy you bring in because he's just got that. He's a perfect Sean McDermott guy. Like if you were to pencil in a Sean McDermott defensive end value 3rd, 4th, 5th round, like Bradley Anai is it.
Joe's got a question for you.
What, me?
And hey guys, quick question: how long do the Bills have to put a 5th-year option?
Oh, okay, yeah, they can pick up anytime this season.
Okay,
so they have to exercise. So. Well, that's not necessarily. That's not really true.
He played 17, 18, and 19.
Right. So they have to pick it up by the end of this season. They have to determine whether they're going to pick it up by the end of this season. So before the end of this league. Wait, is he 3 years in already?
He's 3 years in.
Yeah. Okay. So they would have already picked up his option.
Okay.
I would think.
So the fact that they haven't picked up his option, they're talking extension already.
Right. I mean, normally it's just a matter. It's just because you can deny the option at any time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they can wait. You remember what they did with Shaq? Right.
Yeah.
They said right before the start of his 4th year, yeah, we're not picking up your option. So that's how late it can go.
Okay. All right.
They can pick it up at any time.
Yeah.
It's just they can also drop it at any time. So
yeah, some teams just to protect themselves, they'll sometimes put the option on them.
Right.
Just to say, okay, listen, we like what you've done so far.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to renegotiate this.
Right.
And that and
well, and you saw what it did for Shaq. Right, they declined Shaq's option. And he's like, yeah,
now he's got 3 for 30.
Well, and which you played Mario Addison anyway, right? That's what you paid Mario Addison. I'd rather pay Mario Addison 3 for 30 than Shaq Lawson 3 for 30.
Okay, breathing again.
I just believe in. I just believe Mario Addison is a bigger fit for the Bills than Shaq Lawson was, because Shaq wasn't their player. He was a holdover. He was one of the few.
Yeah, and just to go out on a timeline though, I just want to use Trey as an example. I don't think the Bills are going to do this, but let's just use Trey as an example. He was drafted in 2017.
Yep.
So you got 2017, and then 2021 you have the 5th-year option.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then you could tag him. You could franchise tag him for the next year.
Right.
So realistically, on any 1st-round player that you have, you could pick up their option and franchise tag them and have them for 6 years.
Yeah, concurrent years.
Yeah, you could do that.
Well, and then you could franchise tag them again.
Yeah, and then it goes up 20% of the previous franchise tag.
Right.
And then after that, unless the CBA changed it, it's 44% after that.
Yeah.
So unless he doesn't sign it, obviously, certain players will sign it, depending on which tag it is, if it's an exclusive or non-exclusive franchise tag. But you realistically have now, if you don't do anything, you could have Trey White. I'm not saying they're doing
Trey thing. Just as an example, the Bills declined Shaq's option May 1st of 2019. So that tells you when you have to determine whether you're going to pick up or decline.
That makes sense. Is Addison? Aaron, he says, is Addison an upgrade over Lawson?
I think so. It's a different player, right? It's a different style of player, but it's somebody who's very comfortable in a Sean McDermott defense.
I'm going to say no.
Mhm.
All he knew was a Leslie Frazier defense and the
Okay.
type that he wants to run. I know it's Sean McDermott, and I know we like to make the Carolina connection all the time.
Yeah.
And it's there and it's evident. However, only Addison knows coach when McDermott was the defensive coordinator in Carolina. He's with the Bills now.
Right.
So a lot of the verbiage is going to be, transferred. But, Shaq was there for those 3 years.
Mhm.
So, and he's younger. I don't know. I mean, that was my argument.
I don't think anybody was like, "Oh, I can't wait for Shaq Lawson to explode." I think it was, "Oh, wow, he can play football." Like, I don't think Bills fans were clamoring for Shaq Lawson.
Many people will say that he was just highly motivated because of the contract year, and guys always play out and show out in their contract year.
Mhm.
But I'm just saying, though, as much as we tout that it's a Leslie Frazier defense,
Right.
That's what Mario Addison is coming into.
Yep.
Even though the verbiage may be a little bit
salary cap penalty. So the way that works, John, is again, it's mostly about signing bonus. So I'll give you an example. Kevin Johnson, right? Kevin Johnson's contract last year, the Bills signed him, right? It had a very small amount as a signing bonus.
Yes.
If the Bills were to cut him in training camp or against their salary cap, that was really their signing bonus. Whatever their signing bonus is, that's what's going to count against the cap as a penalty. The salary that you would have paid him is gone. But if it was like a 2 or 3 year deal, you have to take count against this year's cap. So that's kind of the way that works.
Yeah, and just to give everyone another tidbit of the salary cap as well. Just going back to Gurley, I just want to talk about Gurley. They're cutting him, but they designated him. Sometimes you'll see this. They designated him as a post June 1st cut. Now, what that means is, as they designate him a post June 1st cut, they could split up the dead money that they're going to have to pay him for 2 different seasons. So let's say if it was 24 million that they owed, I don't know what the number is, but if it was 24 million, because they designated a most June 1st cut, they don't have to take all of that on the chin the first year. They could split 12 or what is it, 60-40 or something like that.
Yeah, it's not a
50-50, but it's like a 6. And the Rams really can't afford that.
No, they can't.
So
can we talk about what a great signing Josh Norman is?
Brown signed him.
Yeah.
So the episode was nothing.
Right.
It didn't make any sense anymore. But at the beginning of that episode, we talked quite a bit about Josh Norman. So you may continue. So.
Yeah. So super thrilled about Josh Norman, right? So you had a guy who, when he was in Carolina with Sean McDermott, but from a skill set standpoint, 100% thrilled to, do you know why? You're not asking him to be a number one. You're not asking why.
Did you not just say he was Levi Wallace?
Well, yeah.
Was Levi Wallace usurped by Kevin Johnson near the end of the year?
I think there's a big difference between a kid that was undrafted that has 2 years experience in the league versus Josh Norman. This guy.
No, I understand that, but I'm just the way that I take it. I take the style of player. Okay, so if you're planning on playing a lot of zone in 2020 as a team, you sign 3 defensive linemen. And you get Harrison Phillips back. Hopefully that generates the pressure so you can play 7 behind it in zone. There, Greg Norman. Why do I always
Greg
say
Norman?
Greg Norman? Josh Norman. Does this mean that Levi may play more in the slot? Does this mean that Teron Johnson may do something else?
Levi profile is better than Norman.
You think so? Oh, then Norman.
Yeah, to be Tron's tiny, so he would have to be bigger.
You won't say that to his face.
No, sir. Nope. Yeah, and Chris Spencer says the Bills play primarily zone anyway, which is true. But again, the interesting thing about the Bills zone significantly taller.
It's like when you tell people that TJ Yeldon's 6'2", you're like, what?
Yeah.
He's what?
TJ Yeldon and Robert Foster are the same height. Like, what?
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
That's what it's a William Lang. We could use a man corner later on and find a diamond. That's what I am. Yeah. That's why
man corners are so easy to find because in college, it's all they play. They play man all the time in college because these college kids are Denard. This is real easy. Go get me a guy. Go get me a murderer. for $3 million a year. Darqueze Dennard will murder you for $3 million a year.
Gordon.
That's why he's man so angry. He's got to get off those dating to the pro game because he saw every wide receiver as a speed bump.
I have to kill every.
Trey would approve that.
He would.
Yeah,
he would
Trey
approve this message. That's why him and Levi never got along.
He's like Roll Tide Kid.
But here's the interesting part, and if you guys had watched, we'll be reconnecting.
It says
we're reconnecting. So if you guys can still hear us, give us a 1 in the chat.
Yeah.
Or else I won't continue on with my.
No, we're good.
I've already forgot.
Good.
With these guys, I made a video about it. It was just fun to acquired, and everyone was kind of talking about, okay, you got Jefferson, you got Butler, you got Norman.
Yep.
You have all these guys that have in their career, and I showed it on the film, they've had questionable things that they've done.
Yeah.
Jefferson, whole OBJ, Norman deal. But they can get players into the fold, and the players will self-regulate that.
You know, it's so interesting that you bring that up because, like, Vernon's a great example, right? So Vernon was a huge leader, only one that's got any sort of piss and vinegar in his veins, right? And then you're bringing in Norman into an environment that he's going to be comfortable in, right? Because this is old hat for him. This is nothing new. So, from a personality standpoint, I get where you're coming from, but I'm not really too concerned about all that.
I think they could self-regulate now, because I don't think Bean would bring those guys in if he didn't think that the team could take care of it. You know what I mean? So,
right. All right, we got to wrap up, sir.
Yes, we do. So, we're gonna be back in the car on Saturday. We're gonna try to give you guys a little bit of a break.
Well, doing draft coverage is gonna suck ass now because we've got like, oh, who's in the top 100? Oh, we don't have to worry about 22% of these guys. Beautiful. Great. You know, they traded for Diggs, and you're just like, God damn it. Like 40 players.
I watched an uncomfortable amount of Jefferson wide receiver highlights.
Yeah.
An uncomfortable amount.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just anyway. But
CD
how do I
monster, man?
I know.
CD Lamb's a monster.
How do I grade the offseason so far? I'm gonna give it a B. There's still guys I want to see them go after. The day episode, Sunday Drive, and I may have a nice little treat for you guys. What? Okay. But for Paul, I'm Mario. This is Hashtag Sports. We're out, guys.
Okay.
Say hello to everybody still.
End stream.
Hot mic.